Okay, so now we're on day 24 of young Raz's trailing experiences, and things have been going really incredibly well. I love the way you set your trail up. It's a great location for a young pup. And I understand that in this case, once he's gone, you don't really see where he goes, so it becomes almost a semi double-blind track, which is actually really great. That way you don't really guide the dog much at all. What we're going to do is start lifting up the lead now. We went from, trailing with absolutely no equipment, and then to just the harness, and then a 6-foot lead, then to a 15-foot lead, and then to a 30-foot lead, dragging behind the dog as the dog is working. And we do all this as to not to put too much resistance on the pup, so we don't line check them and stop them in their action of work. A lot of times with the young dogs and new dogs, and especially dogs with lots of obedience, every time there's a line check, they correct the direction that they wanted to go inadvertently. They think that you want them to do something differently. So that's why we do things the way we do. We start with absolutely no equipment in the beginning, and as the dog gets better and better, more importantly, more focused in the job that he's doing, we start slowly adding the equipment. And so right now, Raz is doing a fantastic job. It's a perfect example of how fast a pup can actually track, even a young dog like this. I mean, Raz is, just under 16 weeks old, and to be able to work at this speed in this condition is actually pretty incredible. And we're going to see by the map at the end of the track how accurate he truly was. There's really only one place where he deviates from the track line, and that's during a big turn, and he cuts the apex off. Instead of staying right on the track, he works in the concentration of blown odor and cuts the track slightly. So really, really good work. So we're now getting to the point where you're starting to hang on. And for him, I don't think he really notices the impact of you being behind him. You're doing a good job of staying behind. And of course, you got to run. And, at this stage of the game, we don't want to put too much of an impediment on him and his action. What we do want to do is just let him know that we're there. And so just a little bit of resistance is what we want to do. Now, as he gets better and as these tracks lengthen and get older, we're going to start putting a little bit more resistance, and we're going to start ratcheting him down in speed. This speed is something he can track in very, very easily, but ultimately speaking, from a law enforcement perspective, it can be very, very dangerous. You never want to run into a track like this because ultimately you're just going to run into a bullet. But with the young pup, we've got to let them operate the way they want to operate. So one of the things that we're seeing right here is a lot of heads-up behavior, and a lot of this heads-up behavior is related to air scent as well as the track. A lot of Mals and Dutchies don't like to put their noses right on top of the ground. And that's because they like to use their eyes. The other important factor is that scent is very easy to detect, especially in a condition like this, and they don't have to run with their nose focused directly on the ground. They can run with their nose at shoulder level easily and still follow odor. And you can see that with his behavior. And when we compare the work that you're doing here, again with the map, you're going to see how accurate he really was, even with this heads-up behavior. Really, really great work for a young pup. We've come really far, and this is actually the end of your imprinting stage. The next level is going to be working into our intermediate stage, working on surface changes and some distraction work. So surface changes, what I mean by that is we're going to start working into going from a high productive source, lots of grass, lots of vegetation, and we're going to move into gravel, dirt, and maybe just a little bit of cement. But overall, fantastic job.
Clever man. Jump up and run. Good boy.